Continuing with the First Global Revolution, Chapter 7, Part 10. Very recently, there appears to be a reorientation in the thinking of the leaders of the international financial organizations. For example, Enrique V. Iglesias, discussing the transfer of real resources to the developing countries, states, among the areas of activity targeted by the bank, a few stand out for the high priority they have been assigned, namely, the promotion of economic investments in key sectors of the economy such as energy, transport, communications, agricultural, and industrial development, the alleviation of the social debt in the region, e.g., exempli gratis, assistance to the low-income segments of the population, cooperation for urban and agricultural development, promotion of small producers, enhancing women's participation in development, the support for the modernization of the private sector, e.g., loans and equity investments by the Inter-American Investment Corporation, and loans and technical cooperation from the bank in the areas of trading systems, modernization, export capacity development, financial sector modernization, co-financing and support to micro-entrepreneurs, the promotion of human resources development, particularly in the scientific and technological areas, and finally the promotion of environmental management and conservation of natural resources. One valuable task for the Club of Rome is to convince policymakers of the notion that it is possible for North and South to work together so that development no longer demands such a high price of regional and global environments. Development planning can rely on already available advanced, energy efficient, and materials efficient technologies. It can encourage efforts to build up an endogenous system of scientific and technological resource capabilities in the developing countries. It must emphasize the use of local resources and renewable energies to lead to a decentralized and balanced pattern of development. At first sight, the financial burden involved may seem too onerous for developing countries. It need not be if aid to development policies can be designed to ensure that adequate use is made of the advances achieved by the technological revolution. Seen in a historical perspective, industrializing countries now have a great advantage. They are building up their capital stock at a time when new technological options are becoming available. We have to ensure that these options do not remain the privilege of the North, but can be accessed by the South on affordable terms. This would be possible if, for example, a part of aid to development funds were to be used to give compensation to the enterprises in the private sector for the outflow of their technological know-how. Moreover, we have to ask whether current conditions allow us to envisage successful international cooperation on the necessary scale. Potentially, two obstacles might bar the way. The first is political. Relaxation in tensions between East and West has pointed to the emergence of a new international climate, and this process may continue despite worrying signs of an inversion in tendency within the Soviet nomenclature. The new climate raises expectations in the context of East-West relations, but not necessarily of North-South. Indeed, confrontation between East and West often led to a competition in offering assistance to developing countries for political or trade advantages. An attitude verging on impatience has become apparent among many economists and policymakers in the industrialized world of the North. They seem to feel that while restructuring the former Eastern Bloc is a practical proposition, development of the South remains as intractable as ever. Furthermore, the Gulf War has given rise to increasing tension between North and South. The depth of fundamentalist feelings in the Islamic world threatens not only the objective analysis of economic interest, but also what has been a long tradition in much of the Arab world of tolerance for non-Muslim beliefs. The Club of Rome can make its contribution. top-down measures to find a policeable mechanism which can permit development to take place without unduly expanding total world resource use, and to condition market forces to take into account longer-term, hitherto unquantifiable parameters such as environmental quality and equity are clearly required, but they will not be enough. They need to be flanked by an ethical mobilization worldwide if the challenge is to be overcome. Sacrifices are demanded of all people, and the returns will only be seen by coming generations. Appeals to altruism are all very well. We need constant pressure for more education, greater awareness of the trade-offs between environment and growth, between development and a more equitable and hence more secure world order. Impacts of the changes and impending changes on individuals and societies. The pressure of the facts is such that we must either change or disappear. To meet the three priorities that require immediate action and begin managing change without losing any time, a true transformation of mindsets and behavior is imperative. The indispensable measures will be unpopular, costly, and painful, and wealth will inescapably have to be shared. This means a whole lifestyle and pattern of consumption will have to be modified in the industrialized countries, while in developing countries an entire mutation will have to take place to include a spirit of initiative, of discipline, and higher standards on every level. But minds are not in the least prepared for this multifaceted revolution unless public opinion is truly educated and intensely prepared for the acceptance of new living conditions. We can expect revolt and inertia to erupt just as governments and decision makers will be needing public support more than ever. And this ends Chapter 7.